Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, coming at you from the Knife Center. And today we're going to be looking at some stuff from Custom Knife Factory. Now that name may sound like an oxymoron, but these are production-made knives that truly approach custom levels of fit and finish. I've pulled a few of their items over here for us to take a look. Let's check them out. First up, we're going to start with one of their most unusual designs, and that's the Croaker. This knife is definitely a sight to behold, with an M390 hawkbill blade that's almost 5 inches long. It's also got really eye-catching handle materials. It's available in a milled titanium with a bronze anodized finish, as well as a version with marbled carbon fiber scales. So this may be a style piece, but it truly could get a lot of cutting done. That hawkbill blade is great for hooking into material, and that M390 steel is going to provide a ton of edge retention. The party piece of this knife, however, is the locking mechanism. It's technically a lockback, but it operates differently from any other lockback out there. To disengage the blade, you push on this section of the tab right here, and that actually actuates the rest of the rocker arm to disengage the lock. It's a rather unusual way of closing it, but it works very well once you get the hang of it. So we're going to move from one of their more unusual designs to one of their more useful, and this is the Sukhoi 3 Dominance. This is a much more conventional looking blade with a frame lock for security, a flipper for opening, and a drop point blade of M390 steel that's just about 4 inches long. While the previous model had either a marbled carbon fiber or a milled titanium handle option, this model actually combines both of those elements. You've got a milled titanium frame that's anodized bronze, as well as a marbled carbon fiber inlay. We've also got a very attractive backspacer design, as well as a hidden lanyard attachment point incorporated into the backspacer. Thanks to its materials, even though this is a larger knife, it carries very light. This is a style piece that would carry very easily in the pocket, and it has great action to boot. It's got a few nice details you don't always see in lesser knives, including a pivot collar ring that's anodized a different color for a little bit of pop, as well as some very subtle jimping and a chamfered spine, making it very comfortable to use. Next up is a collaboration with custom knife maker Jake Hoback, and it's his signature design, the Quai Back. It features his well-known upswept tanto-shaped blade profile with a stone-washed finish in M390 steel, rendered in a very thick blade stock, meaning this is a very stout knife. Backed up, of course, by the titanium frame lock, which is stone-washed bronze, that contains also some very nice carbon fiber inlays that sit nice and flush and look great. While this knife doesn't use the Hoback roller detent, it does use Custom Knife Factory's 2-row ceramic bearing system, providing action that's just as good and maybe even better than the original. Next up, we're going to look at something a little smaller, and that's the H, with a sheep's foot blade profile that's just over 3 inches long. As you could probably guess by now, this is made from M390 steel, and we get a nice two-tone finish on the blade, with a blackened stonewash on the bevels and satin rubbed flats. The frame on this knife sets itself apart with some really nice details. It is a titanium frame lock, as many of these knives have been, and it also comes with a really nice carbon fiber inlay. Here on the backside, we've got sort of an angular treatment of the frame in the way it interacts with the carbon fiber, and the section here, as well as the lock bar on the back, have some really interesting milled out patterns, and you see that pattern echoed in the cutouts in the pocket clip. This knife also has a really nice backspacer design with that integrated lanyard attachment point. And overall, this is just a very useful size while still maintaining a robust build quality and beefy blade. So these last two knives are a few of my favorites that Custom Knife Factory offers, and the first is the Awesome. Like the previous knife, this is a titanium frame lock with a two-tone blade finish from M390 steel. However, it opens with this thumb plate as opposed to a flipper. We also get some nice G10 overlays. This version happens to have the white coloration. But my favorite part about this knife is the blade profile. The edge drops a little bit from the axis, and you get a nice continuous curve along the blade, which means this is going to slice very well. There's also no flipper tab to get in the way, which means if you wanted to use this knife for a little bit of food prep, it's going to have very good cutting board manners. And overall, it's just a great size with about a 3.5-inch blade, very easy to carry and lightweight. And if I were to EDC any of these, this would probably be it. Finally is what I think is one of the most interesting models that Custom Knife Factory offers, and this is the Mikoshi. This knife is sort of a blend of classic slip joint patterns, as well as the belka or squirrel knife, which was a common peasant's knife pattern in Russia. But despite the plebeian roots, this knife is all class. The squirrel knives got their name from the animal illustration that was printed onto the handle, But instead of a squirrel on this knife, we actually have a fox pattern that's been milled into this carbon fiber inlay. As you can see, the blade opening here is achieved with a nail nick, but this is not a slip joint. This actually is a titanium frame lock, and it uses that same 2-row bearing system, which means that the opening action is smooth as can be. And I don't know about you, but that blade shape speaks to me. It's equal parts classic and modern, and you guessed it, it's M390 steel. When it comes right down to it, if you crave custom quality but can't afford it, Custom Knife Factory truly is a great option to satisfy your needs. If you like what you see here and want to get your hands on one of these knives, or you want to see what else Custom Knife Factory has for sale, click the link in the description below to head on over to KnifeCenter.com.